Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a domination match between Grand Cathay and the forces of Bretonnia, led by Lewin Leoncoeur. For Bretonnia, it's Lewin with a bunch of questing knights. I do believe we have the companions of Quenelle right there. A damsel of life, some Pegasus knights, and then a couple peasant mob. Well, it looks like one peasant mob, one minute arms. So decent amount of cavalry from the Bretonnian side. Over here for Cathay, which I will be playing, is the two grand cannons and a fire rain rocket. So a big, nice artillery line, a bunch of, let's see, a couple archers, Jade Warrior crossbowmen, Jade halberds, Jade warriors, a couple peasant long spearmen, and then a Astromancer. Now, funnily enough, my lord for the game is going to be this fire rain rocket battery. I did not specify which lord or who should be the lord, so fire rain rocket's going to be the lord. But the interesting and unique pick, I think, is going to be this Astromancer. So this is what I'm bringing as my caster. He is just bringing with him the Cloak of Pomay and Uranen's Thunderbolt. Now, Uranen's Thunderbolt is incredibly effective, specifically against bunched up like cavalry. And so this, I think, this battle will be a pretty nice showcase of just that. Now, I've overstepped just a little bit. My artillery is all undefended. Lewin's going to start taking advantage of that, but I do summon in some peasant horsemen. I've got some Jade Lancers over here to engage these questing knights who've already been beat up by cannons. And now my backline just turns around and starts shooting Lewin with all of our archers. We got the Pegasus Knights coming in, but they're going to take a whole lot of damage. I think this is a bit of an overextension, at least for the moment, from Bretonnia. However, they do have a lot of cavalry in reinforcement range coming around the side. They're going to start shutting down some of these archers. And look at that damage from that Astromancer. That's almost a 300, probably, 300 to 400 gold cast. So we're able to rout off the Pegasus Knights. Lewin still pretty darn healthy. He is a regenning lord. And then I do believe, yeah, he's got the Lower Life Damsel. I don't know if she's casting spells on him just yet. Fire Rain Rockets trying to shoot these shielded men-at-arms. I should have had them on defensive, but they moved up, and now they're going to be compromised by these questing knights. Over on this side, Jade Lancers, I think, will be able to win this combat, but more knights coming from the Bretonnian side of things, and pretty much my backline is pretty much compromised. Companions of Quenelle are coming in. They're just going to start wrecking house with everything. The Iron Hail Gunner is going to get some nice pot shots into King Lewin, but as you can see, Grand Cannon, all of this artillery line is shattered. So, bit of a misplay from me, though we are leading in damage value. We've been able to kill a questing knight, or I don't know if, yeah, we've been able to kill a questing knight unit, the Pegasus Knights over there, and some decent damage on Lewin, which is regenning, obviously, so some of that value is not going to be as worth. But Bretonnia is starting to pull ahead in value as they just run my backline amok, just killing all these artillery units, and it looks like we're going to start routing these Jade Lancers as well. But look at that damage, half HP almost on those questing knights. Just such a beautiful cast. It's popping like 300 to 400 every single cast. I do believe it's overcasting, so the Astromancer is taking some damage, but well worth it in my book. So as this fight kind of degrades into just a bit of a mobility game, running around, tagging each other, Point 3 is being taken by Bretonnia. It looks like these Knights of the Realm will be able to secure it soon, but I do have a lot of infantry in the area, so we should be able to get Point 3, wrestle that from him relatively easily. I have been able to sneak Point 2, just bringing a Jade Warrior unit up from this main engagement back in the back. And then Point 1, my opponent has been able to get pretty much uncontested. Looks like these peasant archers are still trying to shoot the Pegasus Knights. Well, it wasn't microing those. Damsel does get caught out and absolutely wrecked by these Jade halberds. She is on a mount, so they're going to do a lot of damage, but she is broken and maybe shattered if she can't get out of there. That's a really, really nice pick for me, though Lewin does still have regen, so healing is obviously still going to be a thing in this game. Now, I'm bringing it back just so slightly, only 500 to 400 behind on the gold value there. My opponent, I believe, is spending just a little bit too much time in my backline over here, because I can kind of just summon like either cheap spears or cav to keep harassing and fighting this, and I'm getting these points. I'm starting to get points. He had a quick early lead with Point 1, and I think he had Point 3 for just a minute. But I now have 2 points. He's bringing in some Foot Squires. We're going to engage those with Jade Warriors just outside of the point, because we don't want him to... He's going to win this combat, and we don't want him to start gaining victory tickets or at least the capture weight on that second point there. So moving up, we're going to try and secure both point 2 and point 3, looking really, really good for us. Lewin is very, very healthy and running around just causing tons and tons of problems. We do summon in a Dragon-Blooded Shugengen, so we have to have a Lord somewhere in the army, right? But this is a completely stripped Dragon-Blooded Shugengen. She is going to do 2 things for us, though. She's going to bring the Mastery of Elemental Winds, and she's a pretty decent, formidable single entity. She's actually going to be able to get some... Only 500 cost, she's going to trade pretty well into these companions, so she's actually getting a decent amount of value. Pretty happy with that. We are bringing these Iron Hill Gunners back, who are about to get a lot of value, shooting right into the companions there, and then we've got a nice sandwich coming in here. Oh, it looks like these beautiful charge from these Jade Lancers here, sandwiching them in, and then there's the other Jade Lancers. Beautiful sandwich. Now, he does have some reinforcing Questing Knights coming in, and all of the fighting is just happening at my base point, which is actually turning out pretty well for me. I'm starting to regain that gold damage value. So really happy with that. It looks like the Astromancer got routed off somewhere, and I missed that, but I did just resummon him. He's only 850. 850 cost, and he's already paid for himself, moreover. Beautiful damage. Questing Knights just gone. They were basically really low HP to begin with, but they are gone. The companions of Connell are also breaking, and Lewin is now left alone. He's probably going to be able to 1v2 both these lords. The Jade Lancers aren't going to be much of a threat. Hopefully we can get some decent damage on him with these Iron Hill Gunners, but there's not much that can fight him there, and he is going to be just a terror in the night for us to try and deal with. Bringing some more infantry over here. Point 3, my opponent has brought out a lot of Foot Squires, which is a pretty good pick, at least into this situation. They have the anti-infantry armor-piercing damage, which is going to be really good against Jade Warriors. Pretty much all the Jade Warriors. And so he's going to try and pressure points 2 and 3 with those infantry. I haven't really done anything to point 1 over here, so that's still safely his. But for the most part, he's switched at least to infantry for the moment. He's even got a Grail Relic in there to keep that leadership up. Lewin does leave this engagement, as he knows he's not really going to trade value into it. And we're staying pretty even. I've got a very slight lead, but the big thing that I'm more happy about is the victory tickets, the fact that I'm able to hold point 1 and 2 for this long. Now, it's good against Cav, but this spell, the lightning here, it's really good damage, even to infantry. You can see that was a third of the HP off those Foot Squires. Just absolutely killing it, this Astromancer is. I am in love with Lore of Heavens right now. I didn't start using this Uranus Thunderbolt until probably like a couple days ago, and I'm just loving it to death. So finally this engagement in the back is over. You can see there's a huge slaughter all over the place, but we're finally moving all of our troops up, try and make sure we secure point 2 here. We do have a decent amount of cavalry, Jade Lancers, full HP coming in. Iron Hill Gunners are still going to be a nice threat against Lewin. He is a large target that we can shoot right over the top of our infantry units to hit. We do have, it seems, some Questing Knights coming around the side here. They're going to actually make a problem here for point 3 because there's 2 Foot Squires, which are going to beat most all the infantry here, especially if we have some rear charging happening. Now, these Questing Knights coming in and hitting the Jade Lancers is probably going to rout them off, and then you can start cycle charging the back end here. Point 3 might get a bit of a contest here soon, so I got to keep eyes on that. Point 2, Iron Hill Gunner still shooting Lewin. Beautiful damage. He's getting to half HP. The obviously the Lore of Life Damsel is not on the battlefield, so the regen's pretty much all that he's got going for him, but it's probably going to be enough, especially as he lands on him, shuts him down, bringing in some Knights of the Realm, it looks like. Those gunners might be done finally. So we do have our hero squad here. We've brought up the Dragon-Blooded Shugengen, and again, pretty decent. Like 500 cost, not anything impressive, but pretty decent combatant. Just getting a decent amount of damage here and there, holding a point. It's pretty nice. Point 1, still uncontested. Looks like we just have Grail Relic and Peasant Mob. I believe my opponent will bring them down here eventually because I've just not been playing around them at all. Ooh, a resummon for Grand Cannon. Almost missed this. Just taking nice shots into the Questing Knights. I've got a bunch of Peasant Horsemen to try and keep the cannon safe, but Lewin sees it, and Lewin's going to make his way over here and try to shut down this Grand Cannon, which is not going to go too well for us. And it looks like there's really nothing to shoot at this point, so we're going to rotate here and get some shots at Lewin. We're going to see if we can get some damage onto him at all. Bunch of units that were routed, probably by Lewin and his terror, coming back. He does have terror, yeah, okay. Big miss right there. Holy crap, that was a bad miss. Let's see if we get some better shots here. There's 1, 2, I believe. That's not bad. Peasant Horsemen coming in, actually doing really well into these Questing Knights. Maybe they were already hurt, but Oh, spell coming down. Opponent does see it, backs up, and most of that damage is actually going to head toward the Peasant Horseman. So, not a bad play there from my opponent. But either way, Lewin does get on top of the Grand Cannon, and that'll be shut down very shortly, especially with these Pegasus Knights coming in. So, a little bit of a piece I was trying to bring back the artillery because I had just started with so much of it, and it just went, just got absolutely wrecked. No reason to keep it, I guess. So that kind of sucks. Regardless, though, we are leading in value, damage value now. So this Dragon-Blooded Shugengan, we've been able to keep 0.3. My opponent didn't come around for the cycle charging it, rather going to go take out that cannon, which is good because I had summoned it just to shoot them. So good play by him, but I am able to hold and secure 0.3 very, very well. 0.2 also looking pretty darn handy for us. I don't think my opponent's going to be able to threaten me, at least not with what's on the board currently. So, getting summoned is some, let's see, a Knights of the Realm, Grail Relic, I don't think is summoned, but just, is it routed or just walk back here? Okay, that's interesting. Don't know what the Grail Relic's doing there. But I do believe my opponent's got to be holding up some funds here, because all we have is a Knights of the Realm unit summoned. I guess we do have this backline over here. Again, this fight going around back in the base. Lewin is still an absolute terror in the night. He'll be able to kill all of this by himself, pretty much. It'll just take him a really long time, and hopefully we can win the game by then. But Lewin's just going to be an absolute terror in the night. Iron Hill Gunners finally shut down Pegasus Knights. They got a couple of last shots into him, but they're going to be off the board here. Knights of the Realm coming around. Let's see if we get anything else summoned from the Bretonnian side of things. They're going to need a little bit more than this to try and take one of these points back. At this point, they're getting close to where they need to get to a triple cap, potentially. I don't have quite enough yet, so if they can get 0.2 here relatively shortly, they'll be able to just hold these 2 points and be able to win that way. Questing Knight's going to just absolutely destroy these Peasant Horsemen, but they're also going to get surrounded by the Pegasus Knights. So Peasant Horsemen going to get removed very, very quickly. Nice mobility game. I don't have anything to really catch them in time, so well played from the Bretonnian player there. Grail Relic getting 1v1'd by the Dragon-Blooded Shugengan. That's a pretty pog fight, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'll use that for my screenshot. Ooh, we got some Foot Squires. So I abandoned this 0.3 just a bit. I moved a lot of my infantry over to try and doubly secure 0.2. But 2 Foot Squire units, even though they're super duper low, might be able to actually rout off these Peasant Long Spearmen. They're very, very cheap infantry, and we even have some Questing Knights that might be, or sorry, Knights of the Realm that might be able to come around and push them off of 0.3. So 0.3 might actually get a little bit risky for me. However, my opponent has summoned a bunch of men-at-arms. He's got them backed up by the Grail Relic, and then all these scraps of the army from up here, and a couple Questing Knights. Well, Questing Knights, Knights of the Realm, all coming in. 0.2 actually is looking a little bit risky for me here. Lewin, it looks like, is getting stopped up by some Jade Lancers, Peasant Horsemen, and Peasant Archers. I do believe those Peasant Archers want to be shooting into him. They might be a little bit too close at the moment. To make sure we keep 0.3, as you can see, it's already being taken by these Foot Squires. I'm going to bring some Peasant Horsemen to hopefully rout them off with a charge. But 0.2, the engagement is starting to take place, and we're starting to get pushed off of here. So I think the Astromancer did use up all of the Winds of Magic. So he doesn't have any more spells. These cavalry units, I don't have a very reliable way to kill them anymore, because I don't have that Uranus Thunderbolt, and I don't have really dedicated, like, offensive anti-large pieces. I've got maybe a Jade Warrior Halberd, but they're so slow, they're not going to be able to catch that. So at this point, things are looking a little risky. These Knights are pretty much uncontested. The only thing I can really fight them with is my own cavalry. Now, little cheeky here for me. I'm trying to pressure 0.1 because I want to drag some of his forces over. And we're going to see if we can keep him off of 0.1. Not quite. He gets on there and instantly starts recapturing it. Just trying to keep him off of it. We're going to see if I can pressure 0.1 enough, because if I can do that, I take more resources from the fight here at 0.2, which is going in his way. These Men-at-Arms and Knights of the Realm are a little bit much. My Dragon-Blooded Shugengan gets routed, and I just have scraps for infantry here. So 0.2 is not looking too good for us. I don't know. I think we're at the point where they need to triple cap. So 0.2 is definitely going to fall. That's going to go the way of the Bretonnia. We have a couple more Men-at-Arms and Knights of the Realm here coming to take 0.3, which is not defended at all. We have Peasant Horsemen trying to hold them off the point, but like the Spearmen are going to get routed off in a single charge. So 0.3 is going to fall probably relatively soon here as well. 0.1, so as good as this game looks for me, I am leading in value and a lot by points. The triple cap might actually happen. Oh, we're holding them off. Are these man-at-arms expendable? Ooh, that could be a problem. So point 2, we're probably going to be losing here eventually. We'll have to see exactly how the combat goes, but a lot of my units are actually off the point. That's not going to be too good for us. Point 3, just a matter of time. My opponent will get a hold of it. Lewin's just been totally stuck with all these cav. They're just holding him in place. Beautiful use of these cavalry, but they're about to get charged by the Knights of the Realm. Probably not going to be as good anymore. Knights of the Realm going actually for the archers. Could be a good call, I suppose. However, I'm actually taking point 1. So even if I lost both these points, which I'm definitely about to, if I can get point 1, the triple cap doesn't happen. And I am going to get the point. There's nothing here that can stop me from getting the point. Astromancer's barely still alive. A couple of Jade Lancers, it seems, and the 1 unit of Peasant Horsemen. We do get point 1, and that pretty much is going to seal the deal. Even though my opponent was this close to getting that triple cap. As you can see, point 2 completely taken, point 3 going to be taken relatively quickly. There was a chance. There was a chance. If you've been able to hold on to point 1, there was a chance. This was a very, very scrappy battle. King Lewin literally down on his last 1,000 HP. Plenty of value, I believe. Let's see where he was at. Yeah, 2,500 value on Lewin. And if this fight were to go any bit longer, my opponent probably could triple cap me and take the win. But as it stands, Cathay is victorious today. So let's check the damage value. I think a big factor in what won me that fight is my opponent was keeping all of his cav units in a lance formation, which is really good when you're trying to punch through infantry. But in cav v cav fights, not the best, especially when you've got a Lore of Heavens caster that's throwing lightning bolts in the nice little blobs that those lance formations can make. So that helped me out a lot. Now, obviously, my artillery plan here did not work out well. This cannon got almost paid for itself, but it was summoned twice, so it's actually twice as expensive at that point. The artillery did nothing. Artillery was terrible this game. However, look at that Astromancer. 2,700 value, all from a single spell. That is an 850 cost hero. Absolutely incredible. Best performance I think I've ever had out of a Heavens caster. Absolutely love it. Now, pretty good value, obviously, to be expected on these Jade warriors for the most part. They're just a decent infantry or armor-piercing anti-large, which is going to be good into Bretonnia. Some pretty much decent value across the board. Oh, wow. Some of these peasants did really, really good. Decent value on the Shugangan, and then my cav actually did really, really well. Now, I think I summoned them multiple times, but I'm actually pleasantly impressed with a lot of these Jade Lancers. Getting plenty of value. They actually traded pretty darn well into the Bretonnian cav. Maybe that was just the engagements I'm getting, or the lance formation. The fact that lance formation does reduce melee attack by about 8. So, you know, a couple of things helping me out there, but really, the Astromancer, I think, was the star of the show that game. Quite enjoyed his performance. For the side of Bretonnia, Lewin, tons of value, not quite as much as that Astromancer, which is saying something, because he's way more expensive. Questing Knights probably paying for themselves. Well, yeah. I don't know how much the commands of Quenelle are. I'm blanking on their price, but decent value on all these Questing Knights, I want to say. 3,500 on that unit of Questing Knights. That is absolutely insane. Very impressive there. Damsel did pretty much nothing there. Pegasus Knights, not too bad. But for the most part, Lewin was the star of the show, as well as the cavalry for Bretonnia today. So, regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed that battle. Hopefully it was fun. Not the closest of fights, but it was one of the longer domination battles I've had recently. So, hopefully you enjoyed, and I will talk to you later.